afternoon for a very exciting event that we have here. Thank you to the mayor, all our city council members here, and our commissioners that are here. Our library averages 60,000 people coming through our door each month. And many of these patrons have come to rely on our library as their main source for their internet connection, either through our public access computers or through the wireless connections that we offer to the main library portion of the building. So every day you can come in here and guarantee that people will be here utilizing that service, submitting applications for jobs, doing research for their schoolwork, or just trying to stay in touch with family and friends. And over the years, that demand, as it has increased, the connection has decreased. So we're very excited about this program that we're going to describe to you today and present. And I'm going to turn it over to Jeff Kay to give a little bit more of the specifics. But thank you very much for coming out today.
Okay, well again, thank you so much everybody for coming out. This is a great turnout, and I've been joking with people, this is one of those rare issues we work on that really has no negative. It's just it's a very positive thing for the community, and we're really excited to be able to show you what we've done today and show you this new connection we have. I'm going to just quickly provide a little information about what exactly we've done with this connection and what the patrons of the library can expect as far as the benefits. Our goal is to do this pretty quickly today because it's more fun to play with the speed and give you all a chance to do that. We'll talk a little bit of background, and then I'll turn it over to Dr. Patrick Kennedy, who obviously deserves the lion's share of the credit for this great initiative we have here in San Leandro that made this possible. And then with the mayor and the city council members who are in attendance, we'll light the new fiber system and kick it off and do just a quick little demonstration of what we've done. And then again, allow people just to play with the internet if you're so inclined. Specifically, as far as what we've done with the city, I'm sure almost everybody at this point has heard about Lit San Leandro, the fiber optic network that the city and Dr. Kennedy have partnered on to put into the ground here in San Leandro, 11 miles of a loop, covering a great deal of the city, and really serving as a business development opportunity. But since it already ran by the library, and since our city facilities have for some time been connected to one another by fiber optics, we recognized pretty quickly in this process that there was an opportunity to serve the public by lighting up the public library. And by lighting up this library, we also bring a connection to the Manor branch, which, as I mentioned, is connected by fiber. So it was an opportunity for us to bring really great bandwidth in a case where it was really needed, where, as Teresa mentioned, we have a huge number of patrons coming through the library, and the service we once had struggles more and more each year as more people are doing more online. So it's become a difficult situation, and suddenly now we've turned it into just a tremendous asset. And I mentioned here a win-win-win arrangement. As we talked about how do we make this work, how do we get into the library, we ultimately were able to work something out where the Lit San Leandro fiber comes in and provides the broadband that we're here to celebrate today. And the Lit San Leandro team was able to put an antenna on the roof, which gives them the ability, this is not Wi-Fi in the traditional sense of an amenity Wi-Fi network, but it gives them the ability to make point-to-point connections to some of the local businesses that might not be right on top of the loop. So it's a win for the library, obviously. It's a win for the Lit San Leandro team being able to reach a whole new round of customers that might not have been available. And it's a win for a lot of the businesses out there that weren't sitting right on the loop, or maybe weren't in a position to make a big financial investment to connect directly to it, but suddenly now have the ability to get a wireless connection that piggybacks off of Lit San Leandro. So it was a great opportunity for a public-private partnership that helps an awful lot of people. Obviously, lots of people ask how fast it is, and as we've been playing around with how much can we do, something we've learned is that the speed, it's easy to push 1 gig per second on fiber. It's really not that hard at this point to push 10 gigs per second. What we've discovered is that on a practical level, you're really talking about what can your hardware do at this point more than what can the fiber do. We generally speaking, our hardware isn't going to keep up with the highest level of that fiber, and that's not just because of our hardware, that's just what you're going to find in almost every case. But it's pushing us to a whole new limit of what we can do. Previously, this library had 10 megabits per second of internet capacity. That was all of our workstations, that's including here, that's including the Manor branch, that's 113 public PCs, and the Wi-Fi networks here. To say the least, it was getting constrained as demand was going up. What we're dedicating at this point is 2 connections of 100 megs apiece. So it's a 20-fold increase over what we had previously. Half of that goes to the Wi-Fi, like in these meeting rooms, and half of that goes to all of the wired machines. Obviously, it's just going to be an indescribable speed increase for anybody using those wired machines, but it also really changes what we can do with the meeting rooms and conference facilities that we have here. Suddenly now that we have the ability for high-tech gatherings and a whole new crowd of potential customers coming into the library to make use of our facility. And you can certainly speed this up as we go. It's 200 coming, but we're going to show you, we're actually going to do a demonstration where we've opened up a single port on that fiber and uncapped it. Now that the fiber's in, now that the fiber's working, there's really no practical limit on what we can do with bandwidth. So as we need to add more, we certainly can add more. A little bit of context. Teresa was kind enough to do a little bit of research with her contacts at other libraries out there. And we've left a copy of this by the back counter. In researching what other libraries are doing, I was rather shocked to see some of the speeds that are out there. Hopefully these colors show okay on the screen. But what you're seeing here is that of the Bay Area, of course, being the high-tech capital of the world, 50% of the library branches out there have a connection speed of 3 megabits per second or less. Considerably lower than what I'm quite sure most of us have at home. Libraries, and I'm not sure I'm prepared to speculate on why, but libraries just haven't kept up with the internet revolution the way business has. Tremendous opportunity for our library to kind of take a leap ahead. Another point of context here, if you look at the highest tier, it's 10 megabits per second or greater. Whoever pulled this study together didn't even bother to look at any classifications higher than that. We're, of course, pulling 200. So we fit into that highest tier, but we're pulling 20 times the minimum threshold to get to that point. And generally, this is all positive, but I did want to share just a couple of the lessons we've learned in getting this system hooked up. Certainly, there's some complexity. It's not like calling your local phone company and adding a little bit of bandwidth. We had some challenges in the last week, and our IT staff has worked very, very hard to get through those, to get everything up and running. It's really bringing new infrastructure into the building, so it certainly involves some complexity, and as businesses around town are looking to connect, we'll beg your patience as we work through that. And another point is that the hardware is really now our limiting factor. What we found is, and we knew this, but I'm not sure we processed it until we had this great pipe of bandwidth coming into City Hall. Almost every computer out there, with the exception of the really newest and best, is capped at 100 megabits per second. So you can run 10 gig into the building, but you're not going to see that on one machine. Where the benefit of that kind of thing comes in is suddenly now in a library system like ours, where we have 113 public access PCs, everybody can be working, and the crowd isn't going to bring down the speed for everybody. It's really about benefits spread thin to a lot of users. Because honestly, we simply have too much speed right now for any one computer to be able to take advantage of the whole thing. What we'll do at the very end of this, we'll have Dr. Kennedy speak in just a second, and then the mayor will come to make a few comments and light up the system. But then we'll do a quick speed test after that on the projector so everybody can see it. And so this falls under the category of us preemptively making some excuses because we've learned that speed tests, again, I think everybody's seen these things online where you can go and test the speed of a given connection. And frankly, they're not really prepared for these connections. Another thing we've learned, the infrastructure out there, we see somewhat erratic results. And it goes all over the place, so hopefully we'll see a fast speed. Otherwise, we can all just sit here and hit reload, and we'll see what we get a couple of times. But I expect even if we've seen some pretty great numbers in the last week, and we may not see the best of those, but I'm quite sure everybody will be impressed where we go. And just a caveat is we have, just for the sake of demonstration today, again, we've optimized the network. We're not sharing with all the folks who are out there. We've just put up a separate port for this test. So we're going to see a number that's going to be higher than what the average user can see when sitting down at one of the PCs here in the library, but we really wanted to show what this is capable of. We played around, we tried a couple different configurations. We tried a few different computers. For those in the Mac PC war, those on the Mac side will be happy to learn that we found this MacBook right here was the fastest speed we could get. So we're going to show you the connection at its best. Hopefully that gives you a sense of what it's capable of. And with that, I'll ask Dr. Patrick Kennedy to come up and just say a couple words. Obviously, Dr. Kennedy is the guy who thought of Lit San Leandro and brought all of this potential to the city. So we're very, very grateful. It's going to do a lot in a lot of different ways for this city. Today is just one example. It's a great story and something we're really looking forward to.
Thank you, Jeff. Well, actually, I'm sort of the background player here. I had the idea because I knew these conduits existed, and I tried for years. The guy from Cisco was reminding me. I've been trying to sell people on pulling cables through that for probably a decade, and nobody would do it, so I finally decided to do it. The reason for it is primarily business development. We're glad to support the library because it does bring some benefits to other than business. But what I saw is that I saw a city that had all the infrastructure that was set up for manufacturing. And I can see manufacturing in the future is going to be very heavily digital intensive. And we didn't have sufficient capacity to support those manufacturers. So mostly it's a business development type idea. Right now we're about halfway around the loop. We're missing one segment and then we'll pull it the rest of the way around. So anyway, I just appreciate the thoughts, and I think it's great. And Judy and Jeff have done most of the work here. So I'll sit down and let the mayor have the podium. Thank you.
I think most of you know by now that Lit San Leandro, it's an 11-mile loop around our city's industrial core. As Patrick said, it's almost coming to completion, but we're really in the first stages of what's going to be a wonderful development here in San Leandro. I mean, I think the city has acted as governments go with lightning speed in terms of taking an idea that we had last January, making it into a reality, forming an agreement, forming the partnership, and then now having the installation occur and coming to a near conclusion. And while Lit San Leandro is very much focused on both retaining existing businesses in San Leandro, and OSI Soft is a prime example, it's also designed to attract new businesses. And we are committed to working with the business community to make sure, or to revitalize our industrial core, to take it up to a new, higher uses. As Patrick mentioned, we're looking at manufacturing in the 21st century and other forms of highly intense digital businesses that require highly intense data transfers, the wireless revolution. It can be in areas of software, data management, medical science, medical arts, and countless other industries, some of which are already here in San Leandro, and some of which we, of course, want to bring to San Leandro. But we also are mindful that Lit San Leandro could be a real direct benefit to the residents of San Leandro. And by hooking in the library, we're providing both the main library and the Manor branch. We're providing opportunity for folks to really get connected to the internet at the highest practical speeds possible. We want to help folks that are using our library be able to work quicker, more efficiently, and take advantage of the constant changes that are occurring on the internet. We're proud to say that this is the fastest library connection to the internet of any library in California, and probably any library in the western half of the United States. And I attended a conference for mayors a while ago, and there was a mayor that said, our city is the most generous city in the nation. And he basically said, I had no proof of that, but I said it and no one else challenged me. I actually do have some proof here in terms of the California survey. And the speeds here are just so small. It's incredible. I mean, every one of you at home has a quicker speed than what the library had, and you weren't sharing it with 125 other workstations or on the wireless side. I mean, we are going to be at a minimum, a tenfold greater speed than probably any other library in the state of California. So that's very exciting, and I'd like to thank, Pat Kennedy for coming forth with this wonderful opportunity to the city, and then others as well. Crosslink Networks is the company that's supplying the bandwidth that will travel along Pat's fiber. We're also very appreciative to Judy Clark, who's been very influential in setting up the demonstration today and also working to promote Lit San Leandro and developing a strategy for our broadband use. And of course, our own city staff, our library director, Teresa Mallon, our business development coordinator, Jeff Kay, and our IT director, Ryan Fowler, and many others at City Hall, at the library, have worked very hard to bring today to today's demonstration and the technology to our users. With no further ado, let's light it up. Jerry, Diana, and Michael and Tom.
Mine's going down.
Something down, it's like they were out.
Okay. Let's see, you hold that one there, and we try to get it in without electrocuting ourselves. Okay, here we go, yay!
There we go.